really have much, you know what I mean? I don't have really contracts with like assisted living facilities or anything like that. Not that I'm thinking about selling the moving company, but I always think about like in the end game, do I sell it or how do I evaluate what the business is worth without any real like set in stone contracts? So
you need to have your business in a sellable position at all times. Not because you intend on selling it, but because it's what's best for the way that you run your business.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Making Moves podcast. I'm Austin Hendrix, and today we have Darryl Stevens with the Florida Advantage Realty Group on as our guest. So give us a like, share, and follow, and keep following along, guys. So Darryl, appreciate you coming on today, brother, and glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
I'm excited.
I'm super interested in your entrepreneurial journey. I've watched it kind of from afar through BNI, and wanted to have you on and just chat about business, real estate, and some of the things that you've been through that all business owners can kind of take away from. And so I know you have Pure Painting, and I know that you're a real estate agent. Is there anything other stuff that you're doing?
Well, I mean, my number one role obviously is husband, and then father, and then all those other things.
That's why that's why I love
I definitely get my hands dirty on some projects here and there too.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So before we get into the real estate journey, I wanted to talk about more of like how you got Pure Painting started and like how that like just blossomed into what it is today. And so did you start that from the ground up? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, I did. I mean, honestly, I moved to Florida in 2005. My dad called and said, hey, I've got this opportunity to buy a landscaping business. And so I was like, all right. Well, I was building those power line trucks in Missouri. So I was like, this is boring. So that sounds fun. Let me come down there and do that. And so came down, and my dad and I, you know, we mowed lawns. We did landscaping projects. We would lay tile. We would rescreen your pool. We'd paint your house. We did everything. Yeah. So it was like, we had a truck, we had tools, and we had the know-how. And I learned a lot from my dad from that. And so eventually, man, we're getting deep quick, but in 2008, my dad passed away. And I was left with like, what do I do? So from there, I really kind of just like picked up the landscape business, learned how to run a business with something that's actually very difficult to run profitably. And eventually, I sold the landscape business after having started Pure Painting, realizing that I needed to focus on one thing and not be spread all over the place. And so, it started from literally from nothing. Just said, I'm going to make a business name. I'm going to start marketing. I'm going to start getting customers. I started with doing a lot of exterior repaints, simple residential projects, and then slowly worked up from there. So
you weren't always just a painter. You started, like you said, landscaping first. How did you sell that? Like what does that look like? How did you sell a business?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, business valuation is its own entity. I mean, especially when you get more complicated than landscaping. But it's as simple as with landscaping, it's as simple as, you know, what are your contracts worth on a yearly basis? And then you basically just value your business based on your revenue for the year. And then you add your equipment and all of those other things. And so
when you get it evaluated, like all of your trucks and trailers, all of the mowers, weed eaters, all that stuff is included in that business and like how it's evaluated. And then from that, it's the revenue that is generated from the business. And then that's how they come up with the number of like what you should sell it for, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. So when I sold mine, I actually sold all the accounts to an existing company. And then I just pieced off my equipment, sold it one by one.
Okay.
Because he didn't want my equipment. He had all of his own that he liked. And so he just...
I feel like that's a pretty rare situation.
He bought my accounts, yep.
Wow, that's cool.
I had a lot of good accounts, so he paid...
Was it like commercial accounts and stuff?
Commercial accounts, residential accounts, all set up on yearly contracts.
Sweet.
If you go by the cut, you know, in that industry, you don't really have anything to sell.
Right.
You just have somebody who knows you and
Right.
says, come back next week.
It's kind of what I think about with moving too. I'm like, it's by the move, like I don't really have much, you know what I mean? I don't have really contracts with like assisted living facilities or anything like that. Not that I'm thinking about selling the moving company, but I always think about like in the end game, like, do I sell it or but like, how do I evaluate what the business is worth without any real like set in stone contracts? So it's interesting that's a part of the evaluation too.
Yeah. I mean, there's goodwill also. So there's this idea that like there's an impact that you have in the community.
Mm.
There's a name that has been established and it's hard to value that, but that's what you have going on. And so there is value in that.
And I'm sure that they can like see like the analytics of like the calls coming in and estimates booked and stuff like that. And like they can see like the turnover rate of what it all is too.
Yeah. And I learned very early that you need to have your business in a sellable position at all times, not because you intend on selling it, but because it's what's best for the way that you run your business. It helps you keep everything straight, helps you make better decisions. So I've heard that very early on with the landscape business and have slowly learned over the years how to actually make it work. Because, back then you're just making it up as you go.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much me right now. Making it up as I go.
Sure.
The moving business is doing okay. I've got some other ventures that the barely used furniture and thrift, and then Hendrix hauling that we do junk removal and stuff like that. And they all kind of tie to the moving industry, which is on purpose.
Sure.
I think that when you start a business and that business does well, you should start other businesses around it that really help that business also grow, but that business also helps them grow too. And that's kind of what I've been doing with the thrift and the Hendrix hauling, and eventually will be storage and all kinds of stuff like that too. So landscaping, you sold that business and then you started painting houses, and was it just you doing it, or was it you and your dad? Or
I knew. So by that time, my dad had passed, and so it was basically me. I had a teammate, a good friend of mine, who was like along for the ride, and I knew that I wasn't going to spend much time actually painting. I actually don't like to paint. So
wow, that's crazy. Yeah. When I first started moving, not to interrupt you, when I first started moving, I actually liked moving. Now I can't stand it. I cannot stand it, and I will do it because I want to prove to the guys that I'm still like able to do it. And but like the thought of it just absolutely drives me nuts, dude. Like, cause I'm still trying to focus on like the analytics of the business, which you cannot do when you're moving too. Like I cannot take, like when I first started, I was like getting like 2-3 phone calls a day. Yeah, I can take a phone call while I'm on the job or something like that. But like now it's like 5, 6, 10 phone calls a day sometimes. And I'm like, get me off of this truck, dude. Like, so it's, that's, keep going with the painting though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's fun to jump into a job like, every once in a while, but if I'm doing it day after day, week after week, the way my mind works, I get bored. So ultimately I knew that that's the way it was going to start, is that I was going to start by me being a salesperson, overseeing things, making sure that I got high quality, master painters on my team. Very quickly, I found a couple of guys who were able to join the team, run the show as far as the paint work was concerned. They were very knowledgeable.
Where'd you find these guys?
Well, you start talking to people. Networking is huge. So you start talking to people. I know a guy, so I talked to him, and then no, he that doesn't quite work. And then I talked to this person. So that's kind of how it worked. I talked to somebody who talked to somebody, and eventually got connected with a couple of guys who were friends, and they both had been in the industry for a long time. So that's how it started. And I would say within a couple months, I was already pulling myself off of the painting crew so that I could focus on building up these guys. Because the way I look at business is that I'm working for my employees. And if I can do that and give them what they need to be successful, then they're going to be able to flourish and help the clients way better than I could individually if I was in charge of everything.
Right. Rare way to look at a business compared to how everybody else looks at it too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, customer first is often a slogan,
Right.
that sort of thing. Of course, we want customers to be taken care of. Like
Right.
that is the end goal. But realistically, the way that it plays out is if I'm, starving my guys of what they need to provide good quality service to the customers, then they're hindered. They're limited in their ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really kind of approach it from that philosophy. I kind of got fairly big, quick, in that I had multiple crews. I had 3 different painting crews running around doing things. We were doing big neighborhoods. We were doing huge commercial buildings. And there was a year that we were like the 3rd highest purchaser from Sherwin-Williams in this area. So it was really cool to do that. But when you look at the bottom line, it was like, I'm doing a lot. And it's really no different than year 1 whenever I was doing a little bit.
Right. Just stressing you out more.
Stressing me out. Yeah. So, so yeah, that's how it kind of started and took off. But I started to make changes after that, internally, strategic structure type changes. Yep.
And so what were some of those changes? Like, obviously you hired the guys to kind of take over the crew and stuff like that. Did you have like an operations manager and stuff like that, or was that your position still?
So yeah, I was in charge of basically everything. I did have a guy who acted kind of as my GM type of role. I would let everything kind of funnel through him, paint orders and all the different things. And that worked really well because he was far more organized than I. I'm entrepreneurial. I'm not a good manager. I'm a good catalyst.
Right.
So I recognized that, and so I tried to fill that role very early. But then I noticed that because I had hourly rates and the same structure as every other business, that what I was really doing is I was limiting the company still. It always comes down to that. It always comes to me being the limiting factor. So I started to change strategically, and I started to make everything like the structure of the company started to match the ownership mentality that I wanted each individual to have. Because I didn't want hirelings. I wanted owners. I wanted people who were teammates, with me. And after I started doing that, and everything became far more performance based and piece rate type of setup, it was more like the better we do, the better we're going to profit, the better we're going to make the most out of our time, the better the customers are going to be served because you're getting it right, and you're getting it right the first time. And you're focused on making sure the customer's happy. And so all of those things kind of came into play with that. And it really created the ability to scale the business.
I love that mindset of like hiring owners within the business. You know what I mean? And we've talked about this before a little bit, and I've like had my own like kind of vision of like what I want my guys to be. And Seth, I think, definitely has that mentality, and I want the other guys to too, because like the vision that I have is like, Seth is in sales with me, Jared is operations, David is kind of like overseeing kind of both in sales, operations, like kind of helping. Like I want everybody to be in a position where they're not moving anymore, but is definitely a moving piece of the company, like could those positions, like especially in moving, like there's so many different moving parts between renting trucks and hiring guys and getting supplies, and like, so it's hard to put all of that on like one person, like, and I have put it all on myself, which is super hard, but it is, I just don't know like what and this is something that I need to like sit down and ask individually what they want. But like, I just don't know what their dream and vision is, if like this is long-term for them, or if this is just like to make ends meet before they go do what their actual dream is and stuff like that. So I always took that away from when you said that, of like hiring owners within the company so that they feel like they have a piece of it too. They might not necessarily have like real equity in the company, but they're getting profit share or just something to like give them like the feeling of like, I'm helping this company grow. And I see that now with your company, how you built Pure Painting, and how Sam is, and the other guy, I forget his name, but like Carrie, yeah. And they both are just like, you would never know that they are not the owners of the company. And that's what I want for the moving company too, is like, I want everybody in the community doing their thing, not being looked at as like they're just an employee of Austin's. Like I want other people to view us as like such a team collaborative group that like they don't know who the owner is. Because I don't need, and I know that you're like this too, I don't need like, oh, Austin, he's the owner, or Darryl, he's the owner. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that title. I don't need that like ego boost or anything like that. Like, I just want to grow and have a business with my friends that like, we all like each other. We all grow. We all prosper. Our families grow. We can all grow together. Our families grow together. And like, we're just like one big happy group. And I'm sure a lot of business owners want that, but they just don't have that mentality to like let things go and pay the guys what they're should be paid, you know, for taking on those kind of roles and opportunities and responsibilities too. So
it's a difficult thing. I mean, as an owner of a company, you get this sense that like you deserve the most.
Right.
And I tell you, like I do the least, so I deserve the least is the way I look at it.
Right.
And so it is hard. And I get it. And sometimes you gotta have you gotta have money coming in so you could feed your family, and that you depend on your business to do that. But there was a contractor I was talking to who's out of Tampa, and we were going back and forth on some things, and he was like, man, I don't care if I have to work at McDonald's. If I've got high quality teammates and I need to help them in some way, and I have to give up money in order to help them achieve their goals, he's like, I could work anywhere. I can make anything. Right. And that's the way I tend to look at it. It's, I'm handy, and that has come about in the past where I'll grab some projects, because I just give the paint guys, they're on it. They're on top of it, and I want to feed for their families too. So making money is easy the way I look at it, but like taking care of other people is hard, and I think you have to choose the hard.
I agree.
It's
being a team leader sometimes isn't always I make the most, I have the most things, I'm the owner, I'm this. Like being a team leader is like knowing how to disperse I guess funds in this case is what we're talking about, but like more of like just like opportunities for people to grow, and I've had the same salary from day one. Obviously when I was able to take a salary, but like I'm like, I will give up my week's pay if I have to. Like if I have to, like if the account is lower than I want it to be, and like I'm like, I tell my wife like, don't pay us this week, and I'll make it up, next week, or make it up with some furniture or something like that to sell. And luckily I have like 8 storage units full of furniture, so I can just be like, all right, I'm gonna be on it this week. I'm gonna sell some furniture. We got our paycheck.
Yep.
But like number one is paying the guys always, man. Like it's always like in the back of my head, like how like everything's got to go smooth this week, and if I don't have to take my paycheck, fine, whatever. I'll make my ends meet, however I have to. So it's a lot of people don't think that way, man.
No.
A lot of people are like, I started this company, I want all the money, you get no money, and
I'll pay you as little as I can to keep you here.
Right. And that's why they have such like a turnover rate with employees too, and then that's why their employees suck, and that's why there's so many problems. And for me with moving, the employees that come in, they're not the employees that I have now, they're all awesome, but the new employees that come in, it's really hard to get them on that same page, because a lot of the time movers, and I'm sure you've dealt with this with painters too, it's not like painting is a skilled trade, but you don't have to have any like certifications to be like a master painter or anything like that. Same with moving, you don't have any certifications to be a lead mover, to be operations manager or anything like that. And so the employee pool that you get as our businesses owners, it's really tough to like kind of wean out those bad eggs, I guess I could say.
Sure.
And it's when you get them, when you get the good ones, you're like, how do I keep you? Like, how do I keep you? And I'm all about, paying well and OT and all that good stuff. Like I just don't even care about it because I want you guys on the team. And then we will eventually grow more where I can put everybody on salary, everybody in their own position, or maybe open up a satellite branch here, satellite branch there, and then everybody's in charge of their own area. And that's like the ultimate goal is like have a Jacksonville, Tampa, all satellite areas doing anywhere from 500 to $1 million a year, and everybody wins at that point. Everybody's essentially an owner of their own business that I collect on a little bit. Like I don't need like big chunks of those businesses.
Sure.
I will help everybody succeed in that way. So, it's I've always, one of our first conversations we've had, you kind of like explained that to me, and I've literally taking it like. I think about it all the time of like, how do I do this like pure painting? Like, how do I like set this up and like, make it strategic to where I have this good team that I can really rely on. So
Sure.
Really take some inspiration from you from that.
Cool.
So where do you see pure painting going now? Like, are you just like kind of happy where it is and you don't need to grow anymore and you just want to stay like local here in Ocala, or like do you see yourself expanding like I was just talking about, having branches and stuff like that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, my first priorities are husband, father, and I have 4 younger children at the moment. So when I set pure painting up this way, it's very scalable. I mean, I could go to new areas and establish new areas pretty easily, but I would have to go and establish those areas.
Right. And that takes away from family time.
Be in those places. And the way I look at it is if I can just have enough to get by, but be present with my children while they're young, then I'm going to be setting them up for success later, and I can work harder later. Right. Is the way I look at it. So
I love that mindset, dude. I really take inspiration as a father from you too, because of that mindset, dude. You're always family first. And I just love that, dude. Like being with the kids when they're young is so, I have 2 young kids too. And I just, I can't imagine like doing what I did at the beginning when they were really, really young, doing it somewhere else, like, and putting that much time and effort into it and losing out on so much. So I love that about you, dude.
But if the guys want to do that, go for it.
Sure.
I'll give you whatever you need.
Right.
So I do have a guy who's, single guy. He's focused, he's driven, and no children. So he has the time and the ability to just go and establish. And so he's actually working on, bringing on a sales guy under him at this point. So
nice.
We're just talking through it and trying to help and navigate, because it's so much easier to protect your company from a bad employee before you hire them than after you've already hired them and now you got to figure out what to do.
Right.
So you got to really take your time on the front end and make sure that the person you're bringing in is really going to be an addition to your culture and not a culture killer.
Have you ever thought about selling pure painting?
Not really. I mean, if one of the guys wanted to buy it or something, maybe I would.
Right.
But I don't know. There's this there's a reputation. It's got a great reputation, and there's a sense in which I don't know that I don't really want to give that away at the moment.
For sure. I wouldn't
for money, but
for sure.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. The way I look at it, I don't figure that it's worth that much, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's just simply a good little thing to have for those guys. And
would you ever want your kids involved with it when they're older?
I mean, they certainly could. I have a million ideas.
We're the same in that.
For businesses. For sure. So I don't know. My 11-year-old is baking bread for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
She's
that bread is so good too.
She's
dude.
Like,
it is so good.
Starting a business, at 11.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I want that for my daughters too. I want them to like have that entrepreneurial spirit and like do whatever you want.
Yep.
Don't like feel like you got to go to Subway and get a job, like or Chick-fil-A or something like that. Like, dude, let me help you. Let me help you start this entrepreneurial journey. Come network with me. And like especially when you go to like networking events, you bring your kid that's, let's say in their teens, people are like just so amazed, dude.
Right.
They're like, what? You're starting a bread business? You're a baker? Like you're 11, you know, like I just think that like when I see kids out at the events, I am like so inspired, dude. I'm like, that is just amazing. And I cannot even imagine how much inspiration they've taken from their parents, you know, like, and that's what I want to be to my kids. Like, it's so important for me to be a good role model in a sense of like, you don't have to go with the grain constantly. Go against the grain sometimes and do something that you love, that you're passionate about, and that can help you grow as a human being, not financially. Because financially, I will take care of my kids until the end of time, you know, and especially because they're girls. But I just want them to have that like love for doing what they love, you know, and like having the drive and the guts to do it. Because that's what it really takes, is just guts, man. Like it really takes like a lot of guts to go out there on your own, and especially with baking, like presenting something to a community or something like that, that you got baked goods and stuff like that. When bakers come to BNI, I love it. I'm like, this is like their passion, you know, like especially when it comes to food, is like, it's such an art. So like you're presenting it to the chapter or the group, and what, you know, some people could really critique it, some people could not like it, and like that's like a hit to your soul, I feel like. So I love that your kids are already doing that entrepreneurial journey and stuff like that. Have they ever taken any interest in painting at all, or like in the business side of what you do? Or
no, none of that. I mean, my oldest is 11, so really the rest of them are still, you know, they're not focused on those sort of things at the moment. In fact, I constantly say, you know, that we should do something as a family. Like we should start some sort of business as
family
a family
business. And
my two middle, they're like, no, I don't want to do that. It sounds like work, you know. So they're not.
I love I forget his name. I'm terrible with names, but Bayview Ben's in our chapter. How he does it with his family. It warms my soul, dude. When he did his presentation the other day and he was talking, like the whole family's involved. I went on his Facebook page. I liked every post I could find. I followed him on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like I love that he is like all in with his family while he's working at his IT corporate job. Like I'm like, what an absolute dream, man. Like, and that's, you know, Bayview Ben's, like, that's a decent business. You're cleaning trash cans. Like, those dumpsters get nasty. Like, shout out Bayview Ben's. Like, that's a great business, man. He's a really good Christian man that has a really good family behind him, support and stuff like that too. So, real estate. Let's jump to real estate. How did you get into real estate, and like, what does that do for you personally?
Well, because I think the way I think, very early, I was ready to start buying houses, and
because you've like flipped some houses, but like before your real estate journey with like your real estate license and stuff like that, you like flipped houses and did all that kind of stuff.
So I bought my first house at age 20. And I started at that point just thinking, you know, I need to make a good buy. I need to, you know, make some good improvements. Because I'm handy, I like to get in there and do a lot of the work. And so I started buying, selling. I'd buy it, I'd live in it for a couple of years, fix it up.
This is before your kids, right?
Before the kids. Then my wife and I got married, and I bought what would be my third house for us to live in. But my mentality was still the same. We're going to live here for a while, but I'll fix it and we'll sell it eventually.
So it was like a rundown house a little bit, or was it just like a dated house?
Yeah, just dated. The first one was dated. You know, we didn't have much money, so we, you know, had to get an FHA loan, and, you know, just that little bit 3.5% down because we didn't have a ton of money. But so we did that, and eventually sold that, then bought a really good one that we probably would have stayed in, but because it was very good, it was also lots of equity. So by the time we sold that fourth house, when we sold it, we bought two houses after that, and then, you know, fixed both of those up, and eventually sold both of those, and then ended up, you know, moving down the line. And as I did this, I was regularly calling upon my broker, Emily, I found another one. Can you help me with this? If I'm ready to sell, Emily, help me out.
Right.
And over time, she was just like, you need to get your license.
You're good at this.
Like you don't need me. Like you just get your license, that sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, but I'll be on your team, So she's like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like come join me. So I joined her and was on her team. And then eventually she started her own brokerage, which is Florida Advantage Realty Group. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, I'm coming with you. I mean, yeah. So the way I look at it is like, she's family, in my mind. And she's always been so helpful. And she said, get your license. And I was like, I don't think I want to. I see how hard you guys work. She's like, it doesn't have to be that way. And it really doesn't. I mean, there are times where like, yeah, you got to do something on a weekend or in an evening or something. But,
sure.
But for the most part, really, it's not so bad. And I'm not like other agents who are like all the time on. I'm going to make every phone call. I'm going to do all these things. I don't like it when people call me to bother me with something that I'm not planning on doing right now. Mm-hmm. So I really don't like to do it that way. I just like to have genuine relationships with people. Eventually somebody needs somebody or knows somebody who needs something. And I like to help.
Do you have like a rule when you're at home, like not answering the phone past a certain time?
I try to, the phone definitely goes away for dinner. Dinner is like every day. Dinner is around my table and that we are here together. Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing else here but this. So we're eating together. We're doing Bible time together. We're literally just together.
Do you guys do that at dinner too, the Bible time?
Yeah. Nice. Yep. So it's all kind of part of that. And outside of that, if I have something going on, then I'll pay attention to the phone after that. But if I don't, then I'm not worried about it. I just leave it.
You just get back to it in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
I try my rule. I have a rule. I try to make it 6 o'clock, but just it gets away from me sometimes, sure. Man. Especially with like customers calling about the move that the guys are still on or something like that. So I feel like I have to answer it. The goal is to like do not touch my phone past 6 o'clock for work. Yep. But it's pretty hard.
It can be difficult.
It can be hard.
I mean, that's why I say, because my schedule tends to work out to where a lot of people need to be after their work. They need to be on after their work. And so that's when I work, is when people need me. Mm-hmm. So that sometimes is the case where like, I got to answer a phone call at 7 p.m., or something like that. And we got to talk through some things. Right. But during the day, maybe I don't have to. Right. Maybe I take a really long lunch. Maybe I don't go to work at all until after lunch, that sort of thing. And so
I've had that kind of situation for me too, is like where I stay at home with the kids. I can give my wife a break. I'll stay at home with the girls and I'll just avoid phone calls. And when she gets home, I'm like, all right, I got like 10 calls. Yeah. So I get that too. So with real estate, when you first got into it, you joined Florida Advantage Realty. Shout out Emily and Russ. They're great people. I love them to death. What a great journey they've been on too.